Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're playing e4 as per usual, playing against Sisyphus. So, you know, hopefully this game will be as much of an uphill battle for him as it was for the OG Sisyphus. As we see a Philidor defense, originally pioneered by François-André Danican Philidor. Any excuse to say that name, I will take it. And here, you see me hovering with this f-pawn. I'm going to play f3. Now, this might not be such an obvious move. Maybe you're thinking, you've just played f3, you haven't developed either of your bishops, you're not castling yet. Why on earth would you do that? Well, I want to play bishop e3. I want to play queen d2, and I want a queenside castle, because the number one rule in attacking chess is that if you want to play an attacking game, if you don't want to let it get boring, let it get a bit too symmetrical, a bit too positional, is do the most asymmetrical thing you can and castle in opposite directions to your opponent. In doing this, you create a position where the game plan is almost always pawn storm, sack some stuff, mate the king before your opponent can do the same. And it's very much haymakers, it's very much a sort of tactical fight. And that is exactly what we've achieved here. They've gone for c6, d5. I am so unconvinced by this, as you can hear in my voice. I mean, can I not just play e5? I guess maybe I'm going to end up getting my pieces forked on d4. But if I play e5, you've got to move the knight, right? e5, you go back with the knight. I mean, you're threatening the pawn, so we go f4, then you do this. And then we move the knight and hang a fork. Huh. Maybe going e5 and allowing them to push past here is actually a really bad idea. I might just castle. You know what, let's just do it. Why not? The move f3, by the way, I didn't really carry on covering that, is so that we can facilitate playing g4, h4, h5, attacking this king. Also, to prevent knight g4, harassing this bishop on e3. Very multifaceted move. Also, again, supports the center. Opponent takes. I'm kind of tempted just to let them take again. Just play h4, let them take. We take here, got an open g-file. And it's like they're quite behind in this, and we just attack ruthlessly, no hesitation. Or we play g4 now. And if they take, we play g5. And if they go here, I don't know. Okay, admittedly, I should probably just take, because, I mean, there's no reason to start sacrificing just yet. We've gained an open f-file from this. We've also gained the ability to play e5 at some point. They play queen a5. This is quite a quintessential idea in this opening. They put pressure on the a pawn, and they're probably going to play b5, b4, kick the knight, try and take here and mate that. Like it's kind of a miniature game plan that we can see. So king b1 at some point might be a really good idea. But I'm thinking right now, in the short term, I want to attack. I want to pivot my knight to f5, over as close to this king as possible, currently threatening to win a free bishop. And if you take this, I will play pawn takes, so the bishop just moves. Ooh. So you're going to leave me with a knight on f5. Interesting. That is very interesting. If I go here, they can probably sack their bishop. Check, king b1. I don't like being that open. Probably I'm going to choose to not do that. Bishop d4 defending this. Also lining up a potential attack on this king if they move the knight. Oh, wait, that could be beautiful as well. But bishop c4, they could play c5. We're just opening up the king, though. Takes, queen h6, and it's going to be good knight on g7. Bishop d4. We haven't even got to pushing these pawns yet. I'm just using the pieces. I mean, most likely, I guess it might not be good knight on g7 because they could probably take here. My point is, if they let me take here, they are trashing their king. So I think bishop d4 is quite a multifaceted move. We get to take here. Yes, they've removed the defender of the a2 pawn. Hold on, there's no way this is good. There is no way on this universe that this is good. Yes, they're threatening mate in 1. But look what we have. A knight on f5. We have a bishop on c3. The most beautiful bishop I have seen for a while. I just want to play queen g5 and checkmate you here. Like, surely. And queen g5... Oh, boys. Okay, queen g5 is going to provide us with the necessary Luft, the German word for air, for der König to breathe. The king, but queen g5, sorry, is going to provide us with the necessary Luft to play king d2 after the check. And if they go check here, we can play bishop d3, lock this up. The bishops are going to be slicing. We're going to be threatening mate in 1. The queen's going to be hanging to the rook. Maybe you can take this knight. Okay, fine. I accept that. I accept that you can remove the knight, remove my threat of mate. But what you don't remove is my threat of bishop takes here because it's pinned. So queen g5, bishop f5, bishop f6. Bishop's hanging, there's a threat of mate, but they can play bishop g6, what? I really like queen g5, but I'm wondering whether we give this check first, force the king to h8, because then the bishop can't trade off this knight, and I think this knight is going to be very useful. So check, king h8, then queen g5, and we're threatening bishop takes, pawn takes, and checkmate. Okay, we're playing queen g5, I think. You can take this if you want. Maybe knight e7 first was a better idea. Maybe it was a better idea. We'll check with the engine afterwards, but this is exactly the kind of position I want to be in. G7 is looking disgusting, and I really don't see... I mean, you could play this move thinking you've got a fork and just blunder mate in one. You have to address the mate in one. So they do decide to take. Okay, now if I take here, they play bishop G6. I don't really like that. I think I should take. The knight is now then hanging, but if they play like knight E8 to try and defend G7 from the mate threat, we can play F6. And if you push past, we can go queen H6 and then try and, you know, remove this knight somehow. Okay, we've got to take here. But this has to be good, no? It just has to be. There's no knight H5, I just take. There's no knight E8. Oh, sorry. There is knight E8. That's, I think, the necessary move. But I do think that if knight E8, do we not have F6? Or even bishop takes, knight takes, then F6. Bishop takes, knight takes, pawn F6. The knight can't move, the king can't move to stop mate, the rook can't move to stop mate, none of the pawns can move to stop mate. The only move to potentially stop mate in one is going to be queen A1, king D2 then. You can go check, we go bishop D3. Oh boys. Bishop G7, sacrificing the bishop, a demolition tactic to play F6. The knight is pinned, the knight is attacked, the king is going to be mated on these dark squares, and you can prolong your suffering as Sisyphus did. Oh, this is just, it's too poetic, boys. It's too poetic. The myth of Sisyphus will come to life on the board as they play queen A1, pushing the rock away, which by I mean pushing the mate in one further and further away for as long as they can manage. But eventually, after bishop D3, the queen is hanging, the mate is hanging, the rock is about to start rolling back down the hill. You can sacrifice there. I can play king takes, I guess? I mean, if I play pawn takes, then you can take this with check. So I'm actually going to play king takes. The only check after king takes is going to be queen A6. I go back, and then are we uncheckable because here's held by my queen. King takes D3. Oh my word, you can feel the rock getting heavier. You can feel the boulder slowly. The weight of the boulder shifts. They give the check. King D2. Oh, King D2, boys. Just King D2. You don't have this check because of this. They hang their queen. I mean, again, just prolonging the suffering. They've had to sacrifice everything to stop this checkmate. We are 8 points of material up. Somehow, they hold both of the checks with this knight. So let's just play rook E1 and say, please get rid of this knight from my eyes. You can develop your knight if you really want to, or I guess to here, if that makes you feel better. Sacrifice the rook. Sacrifice the rook. Queen G5. Queen G7. Queen E7. And the rock, the boulder, is rolling down the hill. And it has reached the bottom. With checkmate. Oh, what a beautiful game. If you're not familiar with the myth of Sisyphus, look it up if you want to understand my references. But you should be. It's like an amazing book by Albert Camus. And it's also just an incredible story anyway. But let's analyze that game. Okay, so here we are in the analysis. Definitely a bit more of a mess than we'd have originally hoped. Somehow... Queen G5 was a blunder. Because of what? Oh my word. Boys. Okay, I should have seen this. They could play queen A1 check, drive my king to D2. And this is not the only follow-up. This is a follow-up. Hit my king, hitting the queen. After I play king E3, they take my queen. I can then go check, king H8, and recapture their queen. But in this position, we're down 2 pawns, and we've really just lost the thread of our attack. As well as the fact that my king is just in the center of the board. Now, all is not lost here. I would definitely play this on. We have a bishop pair. We have the ability to shove these pawns forward. We have some interesting ideas here if the knight bounces back to F5, if we stack the rooks here. There's still an attack going on, but it's a dubious one. So yeah, queen G5 was a blunder for that reason. The only 2 good moves were, in fact, knight E7. And after king H8, we can play queen D4. Oh my word. And if here, and you save your queen. That's so disgusting. And there was another move which was knight H6, which I was vaguely considering because after here I believe we can just take here. And then we are threatening, not immediately to give a check, but to take on H6 and mate here. So I definitely messed up by playing queen G5 immediately. However, they did not actually find that continuation. We take here. And then, yeah, they should have gone for queen here, and this, probably. And this is actually a draw after this continuation, because they're only up 1 pawn, but I guess I have a bishop pair. I'd still take white here any day, I can't lie. We could play F6, maybe. We could play H4, H5. But instead, they go back. They made the same faulty reasoning that I did. We then find bishop takes G7, and after knight here, F6. Beautiful stuff. They then just spend a whole lot of time just postponing stuff. Oh, bishop d3 was actually a mistake. King e3 was a better move because you can't take this with check. That's so funny. That's actually really funny, okay. But, I mean, it just allows them to sack. No one cares. And then king d2. What? Oh, I guess king d2 was a mistake because it allowed them to sack their queen. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Rook here. Sack here. Check. Check. Checkmate. So a nice end to that game. Hopefully a kind of amusing narrative to go along with it. And hopefully some entertaining, fun to watch, but also potentially a bit educational attacking chess on show. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Merry Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to upload this on Christmas or the day after Christmas, or maybe a couple days after Christmas, but Merry Christmas regardless. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.